Hi, Rena with Maid To Match here. So today's video is my story. I'm very uncomfortable talking about myself in a video like this, but I'm asked about it all the time, and instead of repeating it over and over and over again, I thought I might make a video about it. People have requested it, so no need to listen if that's not why you're here, of course. I'm not going to go all the way back to the beginning, but I'll just start by saying I have had a couple of businesses before this that were successful. I opened espresso bars in hospitals in Boston when I was 22 and had eventually five espresso bars and a cafe in the Harvard hospitals, teaching hospitals around Boston, and 50 employees. And that was my 20s. It was exciting and fun and an adventure. Paid off college and did some traveling and was able to take care of my fiance as he was going through his surgical residency, and really just wonderful experience. And then in my 30s, as a young mother, married and living in St. Louis with my ex-husband, I started a marketing firm. I saw that healthcare marketing toward mothers who are the providers in the family for both children and usually aging parents, and making those decisions were not being marketed to appropriately, and I certainly understood their needs. And my mother has a marketing firm, and I'd grown up working with her, so I took that on and was nominated for a 40 Under 40 national award in my industry, and had a lot of success there, and was able to really help some hospitals market to women more effectively. And then for my ex-husband's job, we moved to New Jersey almost 11 years ago now. And fairly soon after we moved here, we did decide to get divorced. So I had five young children, one of whom was just diagnosed with autism right around that time. So I was a newly single mother with a son just diagnosed with autism. I did some research and I saw right away that I wanted to do ABA therapy for him. And I wanted to max out the hours that we were able to receive through insurance. New Jersey's very generous if you have a child with special needs or needs therapies. Not as generous as New York State, but definitely more so than Missouri. So I wanted to take advantage of that, and brain plasticity when someone is young. Time is not time is not all the same when you're dealing with a child with autism. Having that therapeutic punch earlier on, you can see later term results. And certainly it was an amazing choice in that my son is now 14. He's in high school, he's mainstreamed, he's on the wrestling team, he has friends, and we're really excited to see where his life goes. So being that I wanted to do that, I knew I had to commit to being home for at least 30 hours a week during the daytime to get him that therapy. But I also needed to support everybody. Couldn't have everyone starve for the benefit of one child. So I thought, this is a good opportunity to open another business. And we had just had a blessed woman work with our family for 9 years while we lived in St. Louis. She couldn't move to New Jersey with us. We were heartbroken, but she was a second mother to my children. Their first language was actually Spanish. She taught me Spanish. That's why it's one of the 5 languages I know now. She was lovely. Oh, I'm still in touch with her over Facebook. Maria, hi. Voy a enviar eso video a ti. So it really, as a mother, allowed me to be a better mother, allowed me to be a better wife, protected my health in many cases, especially, if you're the type of mother who will drive herself to literally exhaustion, passing out without calling out for help first. But when we have full-time help, it's a gift to our families, not to us. It's not just like, oh, I need help, let me get someone. This is a gift that we are organizing and managing for our families, for our marriages, for our children, for the health of everyone. for our ability to open our home to other people, to be involved in community activities, and let the skills and the specialness that God put in each of us to shine in ways that He intends for us. And none of that is possible to be your best in all those areas, usually without some help, because this is not a one-person job to be the mother of a home, or the father of a home. You know, most often I'm dealing with the mothers of homes who are coming to me looking for help. So I realized there was a need, and I wanted to be able to give that gift to families. So the first thing I did was I looked at how agencies were operating now and talked to families and talked to nannies and housekeepers, domestic employees. I thought, why reinvent the wheel? You know, if it's working, great. I'll do what's out there, and I'll just have my niche. I primarily was going to focus on the Jewish community, which I did for most of these past 10, 11, almost years. Now I'm national, and thank God, you know, helping a lot of different families. So when I looked at agencies and what they were providing to families, I was pretty horrified. Really, nobody seemed that happy except the agencies. I'm sure there are a lot of amazing agencies out there. I was just looking at the ones around where I am. And they really gave families a phone number and said, okay, you need this? Yeah, here's a number of someone that fits what you need. The family had to call the person, interview them, hope they were asking the right things, check their references, hope they were asking the right questions there too, and hearing the information for what it was. Then decide to hire them or not. And if they're hiring them, negotiate that salary and any benefits, hoping that they were not being taken advantage of, or that things were as they should be. Often some candidates will say, oh, you know, 4 weeks vacation a year is standard. They have their own impression of what is standard and what is done industry-wise, but that experience is very limited to what's experientially happened in their careers and for those families and past nannies, but that broader view isn't there. And then the agency collects their money and leaves. And the family and this candidate are left alone to work together. And people don't hire nannies or housekeepers because they want to be a boss of someone. They want to be an employer. They want more work and pressure in their lives. They need help. And being an employer is a job. It's managing people and their behavior and dealing with issues. That's really challenging. And there is an art to it. And there are skills that you can learn, but what are you supposed to do? Read books on how to manage a housekeeper and be an employer in your home? So inevitably these relationships would unravel. And the industry average is 9 months for these relationships. And that's horrible for families and for children. My children fall in love hard and fast. I mean, they love with their whole hearts and they're open and ready. So transition's hard, and not just because I have a few neurodivergent children. I just think for any children, that's not the best that we can do for them. And just when you get someone trained in to the way that you like your house run, or what your baby's particular needs are, what's important to you, they could be leaving. And they never really, you didn't click with them. The communication wasn't there. Issues that came up weren't resolved, and you were never that happy anyway. That's really what I heard. And I knew that could be better. I had better, and I knew I could do better. So I launched my agency. And I can talk in a different video about how we do what we do. That's its own video. But thank God, 10 years later, we are there. The average time that clients and candidates are together for us is 3 years, 2 months. And I'm proud of that. And we don't get there without a lot of work. We interview the people who we are wanting to place with a family very thoroughly and get to know who they are. Part of that is just an intuitive blessing that I have, that when I meet someone, really quickly, who they are, what their heart is, what their behavioral challenges might be, what their Achilles heel is. I see it as if it's written on their face, on them. I don't think I always had that intuitive skill. I think God really gave it to me when I chose this as the way to support my children and meet the needs of my son with autism. But thank God. I mean, this is really important. We obviously research, we check references, we interview people thoroughly. You know, we have a very specific set of requirements we're looking for, but some of it is art. Just like a great chef, he can measure and use techniques and cook with the same materials and the same ingredients as the person next to him, use the same knives, everything, but there is an art that separates good from excellence and mastery. So made all the mistakes early on. Boy, I made every mistake once, and I learned. And whenever we see something that just doesn't have a good outcome, we do an M&M. Well, I like mortality and morbidity, can you tell I've been around hospitals a lot? We look at what went wrong. We diagnose it. Hey, this relationship only lasted 14 months. What happened? What did we miss? What could we have done better? Or what coaching weren't we present for in the relationship? It's so important to me, and I think all agencies really should provide the support, that once we've made a match, we're not disappearing. Because again, being an employer is very difficult. Everyone has different levels of emotional intelligence and skills and experience coming into this. And just like my YouTube videos, these are skills that are easily learned. Sometimes they just need to be broken down into steps. First, do this, then do this, then do this. And there you go, there's your outcome. And if you don't see the results you want, something greater is involved here. That's not a you problem. But first you have to, as an employer or an employee, look at what part of this situation is a you problem. And sometimes seeing that clearly or understanding that is a matter of having that outside third person neutral party to talk to. So that's just been key for me to be able to deliver the results that make me sleep well at night for families. I just wouldn't be comfortable with handing over a number and leaving families to fend for themselves. That's not what I'm doing here. So I just feel really blessed that 10 years later, we're able to help families be the best version of themselves. Now, I don't put too much on it here. I'm not, getting the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not doing major things. I'm placing housekeepers and nannies and live-ins for families. But I like to think that whatever I'm doing God's work. This is what God wants of me. This is, the skills and tools that he gave me that I'm using in the best way I can, and that I am helping that mom to go to bed a half an hour earlier at night. I am helping that mom be able to turn with energy and focus toward her husband and not feel like her only service is into keeping her home and taking care of her children. That she also has that energy to draw on to be a wife. I'd like to think I'm helping kids have another person in their lives who's consistent and kind and is there to greet them after school when mom can't be, and dedicated to them and becomes part of the fabric of their lives, and improving, their experience with maybe two working parents, which is a necessity today, but doesn't have to be so challenging for children. They can still have that consistent figure in their lives. So I hope I'm helping people. I know statistically what we see. I'm very proud of what we do. And really, that's what keeps me working these long days, as I'm very blessed. I don't even want to say it out loud to bring something bad on myself, the evil eye, as we say, but we are growing and helping more and more families every day. Our team's expanding. it's a really exciting time. Someone just asked me if I can help internationally. I said, not yet. I need those 4 hours of sleep I get a night right now. Get back to me in a year. Let's circle back to each other for your next hire. But I love what I do, and that, you know, gets me out of bed very early and at my desk and working hard for families, and keeps me there till long after my brain has gone to sleep at night. So if I can answer any questions, no need to be my client. Just, you know, again, I'd like to be here helping families and feeling like I'm doing something purposeful beyond earning money. Nothing wrong with having a job and just feeling, hey, I earned a paycheck, and that's help, you know, taking care of my family, my children. That's an honor. I care for my children and provide for their needs with the help of their father, of course. Let me just make sure I say that. So, and the wonderful help of their papa, their stepfather is amazing. So, but making money would never get me out of bed and excite me. That's just, I'm not the kind of person who could show up and work 16 hours a day for that. Some days, not every day, but times of the year. So if you have a question, a concern, shoot me a message. Comment down below if you want to say it publicly. I bet a lot of people have that same struggle and it might be helpful. Or private message me. I share my cell phone number. I'm happy to schedule a one-on-one conversation. There's no charge. There's no expectation. For right now, as long as I can do that, thank God, you know, there may come a point where we are so busy that there has to be a better, that's why I'm creating these videos, is so that people can go here to get that information. Because so many people do have the same questions, and I'd love to be able to spend time with every family. But there should be these resources out there. So anyway, thank you. My puppy is just ready to go on his walk. So that's the wrap. So if I can help your family, please reach out in any way. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.